Hello and welcome. I am not in my usual spot today because I am sitting in a hotel room in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm here for an event for the Microsoft Excel Collegiate Challenge. There's a local tournament for the universities in the area, and I'm going to be doing one of the cases from that tournament today. The live stream happened earlier today, so you can catch that. I'll put the link in the video description. That was the competition for the local University of Tennessee students to sort of pick their team, and then a few other universities have sent teams as well. There's going to be a team event tomorrow, and I'll have a go at that one later. But for now, let's look at today's problem, and it's called Stock Portfolios. It's by Eric Kelly, who's the professor who's organizing here at University of Tennessee. So the idea is pretty simple. I'll walk through the individual questions as I come to them, but it kind of walks you through, you know, the basics of calculating a stock return if you have a starting price, an ending price, and a dividend. The basics of kind of calculating an average return over a portfolio, unweighted and then weighted by the size of your investment. And then we've got just a bunch of kind of supporting data here on a list of investable securities, some data about those securities at the end of 2022, about price at the end of 23, and dividends paid during the year, so that we can calculate returns on actual stocks, then on portfolios of stocks, and then on portfolios that we have to text split, and then on portfolios that include different numbers of different things. So that's the basic idea. I realized I forgot to start my timer. But never mind. For the benefit of my friend Lawrence, this video has to last no more than 19 minutes and 58 seconds, so we'll see how I do on that. All right, so starting off simple, the basics of calculating a stock return is just going to be the ending price plus the dividend minus the starting price, all divided by the starting price, and we just see, yes, they have included rounding in here now, so these should all check out. Okay, so now we want to calculate an equal weighted portfolio return. So if we're equal weighting, it's just, in other words, what would the portfolio return be if we invested the same amount in securities that returned each of these numbers, which is just a straight average of the different numbers. So again, that's pretty straightforward. So for level 3, we're going to use a weighted average calculation. So in other words, we've got $22,000 in this stock that returned minus 19%, $23,000 in this one that returned plus 15%, and so on. And so easiest way to do that is to say the sum product, or you don't even need sum product anymore. If you have dynamic arrays, you can just do sum of the returns times the starting positions divided by the sum of the starting positions. So if you think about it, this if you multiply each return by the corresponding starting position, so in other words 33% on a starting position of $32,000, that gives you the absolute dollar change due to that stock. So this is summing that absolute dollar change across all the stocks, and then dividing by your starting position summed across all the stocks. And then of course, what I haven't done yet is we'll have to make these into absolute references so that when we copy down it'll still work. But aside from that, we are good there. Okay, so level 4, we want to find a specific stocks return in 2023, and for this I'm going to go give a bunch of names here. So actually first I'm going to freeze the panes just so that I can not lose these headers when I scroll down. And then I'm going to highlight all this. I'll call it tick 22 for ticker in 22, and then I'll call this price 22, and I'll call this tick 23. I'll call this price 23, and then for the dividends table, I guess I'll call it tick div and div. Okay, so then it's our same formula as before, so we're going to say XLOOKUP this in tick 22, returning from, tick 23, so we want the ending price returning from price 23 plus the dividend, which is XLOOKUP this guy in what I call tick div, returning from div. Just here I So I made a typo, went back, but it's good to just let your name sit for long enough that you can see that it's auto-completing. That way you make sure you don't have a typo. And then you subtract off the starting, which is XLOOKUP G152 in tick 22, returning from price 22. And then I'm just going to copy that last bit because I also need that for the denominator. So then close my bracket, divide by the denominator, and that's it. Oh, yes. There, I think what's going on here, well, let's just, someone asked me earlier after the thing, how do you check if something's going wrong? One thing that I forgot to mention there, but is important, is you can press Alt-TUF to pop up this formula evaluation toolbar, or it's like somewhere under formulas in the menu. I don't know, I do everything with keyboard shortcuts. So I think what's happening is that not all stocks are in the dividend table, but let's just check. So we have a 23 price. Yeah, we don't have a dividend. And we have a 22 price. Okay, so in other words, all we need to do here is, if it's not listed in the dividend table, the if not found is 0. If it's not listed, then it didn't pay a dividend. And then we're good. Okay, so now build a portfolio using tickers. What is the equal weighted stock return for a portfolio containing these tickers? Okay, so, you know, I should probably have written this formula in a way that would scale a little better. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to change this to be, let tick be this. And then just going to use the name tick everywhere else. And that'll make it easier to scale this when I have different things going on here. So now if I think that I can just do this directly. Sorry, I should have copied the formula, not the cell. If I just refer this now to the list of tickers, I think all of these formulas are array friendly enough that I take an average of those, and that gives me 16.3, which is that, yes. Okay, so then I'm just going to wrap this in an average. So cut that from there, move it over here, and then I can copy down. And these have not, oh, no, they were just taking a second to refresh. Okay, good. So that's level 5. Level 6 is basically the same, except that we start off with our list semicolon separated. So here, just instead of that whole range, we'll just make it a text split of this by a semicolon. Yep, that's it. And so, I mean, you know, again, people were asking me, like, you know, I think most people didn't get into the later levels. I think a big part of what makes it possible to kind of finish something like this in half an hour is as much reusability as possible. So that's why, you know, this this formula is mostly recycled into this formula, is mostly recycled into this formula. It'll get a little hairier for the last 2 levels, but we're getting there. All right, so levels 7 and 8 both have this kind of input here, where it's, you know, X number of shares of this ticker, this number of shares of that ticker, and so on. So I am going to go back to a single cell in the end, but let me start by breaking some things out. So I'm going to say text split of this, and I want to split the columns by space, and I want to split the rows by semicolon. And what that will mean is each time there's a semicolon, which separates one stock from the next, we go to a new row, and each time there's a space, we split it into columns like this. And so we get the numbers in one column, we get the tickers in one column, and then we get just some stuff we don't care about in another column. So I'm going to say let input, I guess, be all this stuff. And then I'm going to say share count be minus minus. I'm going to take the first column of input, and that is just minus minus take 1, and the minus minus is because splitting this out as text, these are numbers stored as text, which won't behave exactly the way we want if we sum and multiply and other things. So I'm just going to do that to be safe, and then I'll say ticks is take from input, comma, -1 for the last column. That's the new line. So that's our ticks. And then let's see, what is the question we're asked about? The portfolio's market value in December 2022. So we'll say mval market value is, oh, now I need to pause here because I gave a name to the price, but I did not give a name to the share count. No, sorry, never mind. I don't need the share count because the share count from here is what I'm interested in. So sorry, ignore that. Did not need to go off on a tangent. So the market value is going to be the share count times XLOOKUP ticks in tick, and I'm interested in the 22, I think. Yes, December 22. So tick 22 returning from price 22. And then I just want the sum of mval. And sure enough, that matches. But just, again, if you're not as comfortable as I am with single cell stuff, let's just assume you want to be able to sort of visually check some of this stuff. So I'm just going to make that my output, and then I'm going to add in a new thing here. I'll call it check, and I'll make that be hstack of input share count ticks mval. And for now, I'll output check. And so you can see that gives me first this block here, which is just splitting up the input. Then it gives me another block here, which is numbers, and those add up. Then it gives me another block here, which is the ticker, and then it gives me something here, which is, and again, I can kind of individually check these to say, look this up in tick 22 returning from price 22, multiply it by this, and you can see that those match up, and you can add them up and so on. But then the nice thing about this is that once you get comfortable with that, you can then say, okay, I don't want to output check anymore. I just want to output the output. And then it all just collapses back. So you can kind of fold away all your workings so it doesn't take up a lot of space. All right, so that is that. And then this is hopefully, yes, just a delay again. Good. Okay, so compute each client's portfolio return. Okay, so this is just, we're going to have to work out our starting market value, ending market value, and total dividends. But most of the workings are going to be the same as this, so let's bring this down. I'll call this now mval 22, and that is fine. And then I can copy that whole formula, put it here, and I'll call it mval 23, and that's just doing the same lookups, but on tick 23, returning from price 23, and then div, I've used so many variants of this name now, just call it div pay, and that will be share count times XLOOKUP ticks. So again, we're looking up all the tickers. This time we're looking it up in the named range tick div, returning from the dividend. And again, we're going to say if not found, we want a 0. And then our output is just going to be the sum of val 23 and div pay and minus mval 22 divided by a sum of mval 22. I think that's right. And then we'll need to tweak the check a little bit, so that'll be input share count ticks all stay the same, then mval 22, mval 23, and div pay. And let's output our check first. Let's just output our output, and if it's right, that'll give us some comfort. 0. Oh, yeah, because we don't have the formatting, so let's get the formatting right. 0.32%. Okay, happy days. No, this one is a ref error. What? Okay, I'll copy the formula from above and it's happy. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the bonus questions. Hopefully we won't need any quite as giant formulas for this. How many unique tickers are in the list of investable stocks? Which is this list here. Now the wording might make you suspect that there are duplicates in it. There actually aren't. So if you just say count A of this, that'll give you the answer, or you can say rows, that'll give you the answer, or you can say count if with a text wildcard, that'll give you the answer. Or what I saw one person do on the live stream today is you can just select these and look down here and it says count 434 and you're done. Just go type that number in. So lots of different options there. You can also, if you were worried about the uniqueness, then you could say rows of unique of that. But like I said, there are no duplicates, so it gives you the same answer. What fraction of investable stocks paid 0 dividends in 2023? So we already know the total number of investable stocks. So we just want to know how many of them are 0. I'm just going to give this list of investable stocks a name for ease of navigation. So then I'm going to say XLOOKUP inv for investable stocks in tick div, returning from div. So that tells me the dividend, and then if not found, 0. Then I want to figure out, so this will give me an array of 434 numbers, and I want to know how many of those are 0. So I'm going to say equals 0. That'll give me an array of trues and falses. I'm going to wrap that in brackets, and then you could wrap this, if you feel more comfortable, in something like if that, then 1, otherwise 0. Or if you're comfortable, as I am, with direct conversions, you can just put a minus minus or a 1 times, and anytime you try to do math with trues and falses, Excel converts trues into 1s and falses into 0s. So that will give a 1 for every stock with a 0 dividend, and we just want to sum those and divide by the total number of investable stocks. And that checks out. Okay, what is the combined December 2022 market cap in thousands of the 10 largest firms on the investable stock list? Okay, so first we're going to, I guess, get the market cap. So, well, let's be a little bit proper. So we'll say let shares outstanding be XLOOKUP the investable stock list into tick22, returning from, what did I call it? Don't remember what I called it. Never mind. Come and nav it here. Oh, that's because I never gave it a name. Okay. Well, I guess I'm only using it once, so I don't really care. So look up in that. That'll give us our shares outstanding. Then share price is going to be XLOOKUP investable stock in tick22, returning from price 22. And then market cap is going to be the product of those two. So share price times shares outstanding. And then we want to get the top 10 of those. So a couple of ways you can do that. One is with the large function. So you could say sum of large MCAP, and we want 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. And the easiest way to do that is with sequence. So you can say sum of the largest 10, just like that. And that checks out. That's good. But the other way you can do it is, so I'll just call that option 1. The other way you can do it is to sort and take. So option 2, you can sort MCAP in descending order, and then take the top 10 of those. So take 10 rows from that, and then sum those. And that will hopefully give us the same answer. So let's just output option 2, and it does. All right, and finally, what is the average return across all investable stocks with a headquarters in the state of Tennessee? So we already have a thing that works out the average return across a bunch of stocks, which is this and various other ones. So we just need to give it a different ticker list, which is everyone headquartered in Tennessee. So here we just want to get all investable stocks. Ooh, okay. So we'll say filter inv, which is the list of investable stocks, where XLOOKUP inv in pick 22, returning from state, which again I didn't give a name. I'm only using it once, so fair enough. Okay, hang on. So a little tip if you want to. Oh, actually, you know what? Those blanks are not actually blanks; they're spaces or something. So you can just Control select all the way down. All right. So where XLOOKUP that is equal to TN for Tennessee. Close the filter, and so that gets you all your stuff, and then this does your calculation same as before. So hopefully that checks out, and it does. All right. So unfortunately, I didn't start my timer, but I'm going to hope and trust that this was no more than 19 minutes and 58 seconds. That's all I got for today. I'll be back tomorrow to have a go at the team finals case as well. Yeah, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.